20 team in the country and hope to somehow find a way to steamroll Penn State. Won't be easy because Joe Paterno and his group has lost 2 straight games for only the 11th time in the history of the club. They're trying to avoid a 3-game losing streak, and they've won 8 straight on the road. The Nittany Lions at 3-2. Perdue, it's homecoming, and West Lafayette will have the kickoff. But right now, let's check in with Mike Tirico. Ross-Ade Stadium, West Lafayette, Indiana. 20th-ranked Penn State comes to make a visit on Perdue, and Jim Coletta looking for his first Big Ten win since October 8th of '94. There have been some ties mixed in there, as you see. Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson back with you. And Gary, last couple of weeks, we've seen some big upsets. Wisconsin over Penn State, Northwestern over Michigan. They did it with defense. Can Perdue pull that off today?
I don't think so. They're like 99th out of 107 football teams on defense. I don't think this team will be able to stop Penn State's offense. That means it'll put a lot of pressure on their offense to control the ball, keep it away from Penn State, and they really have the perfect player to do it. Their fullback, Mike Allstott, is as good a football player at the fullback position as I've seen in college football since I've been doing it. He has the entire package. He can run the ball inside or outside, and he can catch the ball coming out of the backfield. He touches it more than the 2 tailbacks combined, but I really think the key to this football game is the other guys. The tailbacks have to come up with their yardage, and their quarterback, Rip Trefsker, has to have the game of his life to upset this Penn State football team. Brad?
Perdue, homecoming in West Lafayette. Gary was part of those festivities before the game. That was fun to watch. Brett Conway's got it teed up. Penn State won the toss, deferred, and so we'll see Perdue on offense to open up the ball game. Lee Johnson and Joe Higgins back deep. Johnson's taken one for a touchdown once this year, and he's going to let this one bounce out of bounds. So a penalty marker on the opening play of the ball game, and Perdue will have good field position as the Boilermakers will work from the 35-yard line. Offensively for Perdue, as Gary said, Trefsker's got to come up big, and he probably had his best career game last week against Minnesota. Rogers and Allstott, the running backs. Brian Alford, a career game, 172 yards for him a week ago, with Jones and Stevens, the tight end. Captain on offense, Chris Sidoris, moves from guard to center this year. 29 career starts with Fisher, Zatelli, Hill, and Hogendorn. And it's Perdue first down from its own 35-yard line. Corey Rogers is second man. Got outside and got 5 to the 40 before Mark Tate made the tackle for the Penn State defense. It looks like this. Up front, Terry Killens leads the club with 5 sacks. Scioli, Noble, and Atkins rounds out the 4-man front. The top tackler on this team is Gerald Filardi, with Collins and Nelson, the other linebackers. A Thorpe candidate in the secondary is Brian Miller, with Holes, Herring, and Mark Tate, who just made that opening tackle. Second down, 5, Perdue. We'll see the big fella for the first time. Allstott, first down. And Gary, they know how to run the fullback. They probably do it more than any team in college football.
Well, we talked to Tim Salem, the offensive coordinator, yesterday. He said, we have more different fullback plays than some conferences do. We just have to find ways for him to run the ball. And with his 108 rushes in that one there today, he has more rushes combined than both of their tailbacks. Really hard to find something like that in college football.
His opening carry gets him 6 yards, and the opening first down of the ball game. Perdue on its own 46. Play action for Trefsker. Plenty of time. Out, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, and Isaac Jones should have caught that football. Would have been a first down at the 39.
Brian Miller had coverage, but that was a ball thrown into coverage because Brian Miller knew he had help deep right here. You see Brian Miller in a bump and run situation, but behind it, out of the picture, he has a safety helping him deep, so he can bite on all these short routes. Trefsker put the ball high, and that ball could have been caught, and those are the type of plays you have to make when you're trying to upset an opponent that's slightly better than you.
Second down at 10. That's Allstott as the tailback, and here he comes from that second man through spot, and he bulls his way for 7 yards before Aaron Collins can finally bring him down, along with Terry Killens.
I think that's what we're going to see in this football game, is a little bit of Mike Allstott at tailback, putting in a different fullback, trying to take the ball, run it between the tackles, get the ball, and try to stay away from those long situations, 3rd and long. Give Allstott the ball. Now it's 3rd and 4. They have the possibility of making a first down, very simply running or passing.
Boilermakers in Penn State territory to 48. Rogers in motion on a 3rd and 4. Krusker over the middle and dropped. And that would have been a first down for Brian Alford, and you really don't know how much more because there was not a defender within 5 yards. And so 2 passes that should have been caught, and that makes a head coach look that way.
Brad, Mike Alford, Allstott here, right here, the fullback is going to fill on the middle linebacker. We talk about his running ability, but what he does at fullback, picking up the middle linebacker this time, gives Trefsker the time to throw. This was a very tough catch. A high throw on a short crossing route is the toughest catch you can have for a wide receiver. All quarterbacks know you got to throw that ball low over the middle.
Mike Archie awaits Rob Degnan's punt. Archie has to really hustle, and he fumbled the ball. Perdue says they have it. Archie came way up on that. No fair catch called for.
Fred, that was dead into the wind, and he misjudged it badly that time.
Still no official word.
As bad as Bruner misjudged the one last.
Right. It is Purdue football. Huge play on special teams to open things up. I think it was Wayne Francis who covered that football.
You wonder if a Mike Archie, because he isn't getting a lot of attempts running the ball, as Kurt Enos has taken over the tailback spot, trying to make plays. Here's a senior who played behind John Carter. You can see that ball is drifting away from him at the last second. You'd like to coach those guys and say, if you can't make an easy catch, run away from it. But you're an athlete, you try to come up with those great plays, and Archie gambled a bit too much on that one.
Yes, he did. And it gives Purdue the football at the Penn State 22-yard line. Craig Allen and Brian Alford, the wideouts. Allstott and Rogers. Rogers behind Allstott, hit immediately. Nice play by Brandon Noble, senior defensive tackle out of Virginia Beach.
Well, the front four for Penn State has learned how to stop the run. A year ago, they were very susceptible to teams running the ball. We saw how they shut down that fine Wisconsin running attack when they were upset in that game. Wisconsin only rushed for that game 83 yards, and usually Wisconsin doesn't win when they rush for 83 yards. But this time it appears they're giving up 104 yards a game. They seem to be a little better at stopping the run than the past Penn State defenses the last couple of years.
They stopped that run for a loss of 3. Second down, 13. Penn State showing blitz. Krusker with a long count, and now the option. And he'll keep it. Krusker to the 20. Brought down there by Kim Herring. Strong safety. Free safety, rather.
Of course, Rick Trefsker running the option is something we may see from the backup quarterback from Purdue. We talked to Jerry Sandusky, defensive coordinator, yesterday, and he said this is a very tough team to prepare for. They do as many different things in film as anybody we've ever prepared for, and they've got that young quarterback, John Reeves, the backup quarterback, who scares you running the option.
He is really the option quarterback of the two. Trefsker got 5. It's 3rd down and 8. Rick has a lot of time running out of it. Here comes the pressure, and he almost threw an interception. Noble had him wrapped up, and Todd Atkins almost had himself an interception.
Well, credit the Penn State secondary coverage, both the linebackers and the defensive backs, because the offensive line for Purdue gave Trefsker plenty of time to throw the football. There were no easy throws out there. Rick was forced to scramble to his left, and then the pass rush came and got it. It's going to force a field goal.
And that'll bring on Brad Bobich, who's only missed 2 field goals this year, but both could have won games against Minnesota and Michigan State. He's well aware of that. Trying to work through his problems, says Jim Coletta. I just left him alone to let him work on it. This would match his career long if he hits this one from 37. And he got it. Had that little fade there with a 7-iron. I don't know, but had the wind with him. Purdue on the board first with 11:39 to go first quarter. Late touchdown, Purdue.
Darrell, that was Danielson short to Darrell Stingley. You know, Brad, the greatest athlete I have ever played with, college or pro, Darrell Stingley.
And here he is at the game, part of the 25th reunion team that's here for homecoming. Gary and the rest of his teammates down on the field before the game.
Little quiz here, Brad. Did he hook or slice that one out?
Hey, I'm a left-handed golfer, so for those of the folks out there that say I faded it, you know. All right, Penn State offensively, they'll work from the 35. Wally Richardson over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns throwing this year with Archie and John Whitman. Freddie Scott had a career game against Wisconsin a couple of weeks ago. We saw his 13 catches. Ingram and Olshamer round out the receiving corps. There's some pressure up front, a lot of injuries. And Pete Marzik in for the injured Keith Conlon on with Harding, Pilch, Rivera, and Johnson. They really had to shuffle that offensive front with some key guys out. That could hurt him today.
And Rivera's not, he hasn't even practiced until Wednesday. Been hurt and went half speed.
First down at the 35 for Penn State, down a field goal. Freddie Scott in motion. And it's Whitman the fullback with a big hole. And he goes for about 9 yards before Perdue can catch up. Could be a very fullback-oriented football game today. Perdue defensively. Jamie Washell leads the defensive line at tackles and sacks. Smith, the other tackle. Crick and Howard, the defensive ends. G.K. O'Keefer. He's maybe an All-American in the making. He's a really good one anyway for a sophomore. O'Connor and Hall, the other linebackers. And they say Derek Brown, the coaches say, had the best free safety game of anybody for Purdue in a long time last week in the loss to Minnesota. Winston Burroughs and Coleman round out the Purdue secondary. Second down and just a yard as Whitman got 9. Now it's Archie with a big hole up the middle, and Mike Archie trying to make up for that fumbled punt return is all the way to the 42-yard line of Purdue.
Tackled by Jamel Coleman and up for a Penn State first down.
Of course, Mike Archie was part of a three tailback head with Kajana Carter and Stephen Pitts. Archie kind of got a little bit lost in the shuffle when Kajana Carter a year ago just burst out of the pack, and his great talent made it go. But Archie, a real finesse type player for them, and going to be their third down back in this football game. But we'll also see Kurt Enos.
Just inside the Purdue 43. First down, Penn State. Whitman, he ran in.
Whitman.
To John Crick, only a pickup of a yard. Let's check in with Mike Tirico. Mike.
Well, Brad, the theme is running in the Big Ten this game this year. In Champaign, Illinois is, believe it or not, averaging only 2 yards a carry this year. But Robert Holcomb runs over Michigan State defenders to the 1. Ty Dockett punches it in. The game's tied.
Here we've got Purdue in front by a field goal thanks to a fumbled punt return by Mike Archie. But Archie also has Penn State in Purdue territory at the 42-yard line. Second down at 10. Play action for Richardson. Gets some pressure. Whoa! Ulsimer almost had his head taken off by Derek Brown, and he caught the football.
Hard to believe he caught that ball. They had to put that pass had to be in the only possible spot where Ulsimer, actually, I don't know if he caught it. It might have just been embedded in him on that one.
That could be.
A little play action pass. Richardson comes out to his right this time. Had Pitts right in front of him, but threw it down. You see Richardson take a little pop on the play that time by Aaron Hall, number
There's
39.
the pop on the other end.
Boy, oh boy. Ulsimer says, I got a headache and a football stuck in my stomach on the same play.
And he got a first down with that football stuck between the 8 and the 7. What a hit by Brown. That's the kid we were talking about, who had a nice game a week ago. And he leads Purdue in interceptions with 2.
Derek Brown had started the first game of the season against West Virginia at strong safety, and now is moving that free safety spot and become real comfortable.
Bob Stevenson moving at the tight end spot for Penn State. Let Ulsimer get the cobwebs shaken. Here's Freddie Scott on an end around with blockers in front. And he's met at the 26-yard line by Coleman. Jamel Coleman makes the hit.
All the way back. And Jamel Coleman played it absolutely perfect. Just a redshirt freshman. He's on the corner this time and comes away the opposite way. Freddie Scott, and when he turned the corner here, I thought he had 15 to 20 yards easy. But Coleman played off one block, played off another block. Of course, that was just the quarterback. That doesn't count. And then faces up to Freddie Scott. And I really think Penn State got the minimum out of that play that time.
I think you're right. Second down and 5. At the 26-yard line. 8:45 to go first quarter. Archie broke one tackle, got inside the 25 to the 24. It'll be third down and about 2 after we check in with Mike Tirico.
Well, Brad, you know all about the injuries Georgia's had in the backfield. This is their 5th different scat back of the year. Torrin Kirksey, true freshman, had a $195 last week against Clemson. 28-yard run today against Vandy. He had the 1-yard touchdown. Dogs lead by 7.
Well, they have been through some. Robert Edwards and Hines Ward and down the list. Now they got a freshman doing the job. Here, 7th play of the Penn State drive. And they've got third down and 3 at the Purdue 24-yard line. Curtis Enos in at the tailback spot. He's going to get the call up the middle, and he's got the first down, and he's down to the 16-yard line. Willie Burroughs knocked him off his feet, but not before he got 8 yards on his first touch of the game.
Of course, we've all come to recognize, people who have followed Penn State football, the emergence of Kurt Enos. Started the season at linebacker, all of fall practiced at linebacker, played linebacker in the first football game, then shifted back to tailback with a couple of injuries when they got a little bit light. You know, Brad, I think that was a big mistake for this coaching staff. I think because they had to bring him on late, as you look at the two freshman rushers right there, he's really got behind the number of plays he can run. He's just coming on now.
Here's the thing about that stat. Had he not played linebacker against Texas Tech, his average would be #1 in the country, but because he played, even though it was on defense, it counts toward that game. Let's check in with Adrian Karsten. What do you got, partner?
Brad, thanks very much. I appreciate it. You know, all throughout homecoming week here in West Lafayette, there's been a lot of negative talk about Purdue's defensive unit. Worth the effect, like if Purdue just had a defense, they might be undefeated. Well, the coaches and players admit, okay, we may not have much of an identity, may not have much of a personality, but today we're taking this us against the world approach against Penn State. And if they can just play well, then maybe they can begin to get some of that respect they feel they deserve, but they need to earn.
They're playing pretty well so far. We're just under 7 to go first quarter. They have a field goal lead. Second down, 11. Here's Enos again. He spins down to the 12-yard line. And they're doing it with the run, Gary. Only one pass so far in this series by Richardson, and that was to Olsemer, the tight end. When
we met with the outstanding Fran Ganner, offensive coordinator for Penn State last night, he said, guys, don't be surprised if we run the ball inside a lot. Joe Paterno all week said we want to run the ball, we want to get physical, we want to establish our inside running game. We've got a good offensive line. Let's get it inside, but now it's 3rd and 6. This is a definite passing situation, and that's where the Boilermakers get weak with the pass rush.
A couple of All-American type candidates, Ingram and Scott. It's picked off, intended for Ingram, and it's Jamel Coleman. Only the second interception all year thrown by Wally Richardson, and he had gone 110 straight passes without a pickoff until that one.
It's a hitch pass that they used effectively against Wisconsin all football game. And when you try to throw a stop pass with not a lot of grass behind you, you don't have much room. The corners can bite. There it is. Where do you go? You don't have any deep threat right there. The ball was thrown to the inside. A very poor throw that time on Bobby Ingram. And the big interception, Purdue gets a turnover, and Coleman comes up with his second big play of this football game.
And a penalty to boot. Personal foul against Penn State.
15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
And boy, to add insult to injury in Wally Richardson's case, he throws the interception and then the personal foul tacked on, and all of a sudden, midfield for Purdue.
Well, that's how you create an atmosphere for an upset. When you make interceptions out of good plays, you get the other team in it, you get the crowd in the football game, and Purdue has the football back again.
Now let's see what they do with it, with Allstott again moving to that tailback position with Eric Haddad, the up man in the eye, and some motion on the left side. Looked like Zatelli, the left guard, came out early. Zatelli, who
dead ball, false start, offense.
2 years was the starting center for this team.
First down.
Brad, let's go back to that interception again. This ball was thrown, and it could have been completed. This was a poor throw to the inside. Just let it run a little bit farther, guys, right here. Right there, stop. This ball should have been thrown out in this area. When it's thrown in this area down here, that's a potential interception, and that's what caused the turnover.
So the penalty backs Purdue up to the 45-yard line with a 1st and 15. Alford in motion toward the ball. Play action for Chester. And he's got Alford down the middle. Nice spin. And he picks up close to 20 before Penn State can run him out at the 35-yard line. Tresker says, finally got somebody to hold on to him.
You run the ball, you're able to play action pass this time. Tresker had his pick. 2 receivers wide open on this play. You're going to see the tight end cross on the play coming across. He is wide open on the play right here. That's the easy throw. He goes down, lays it into the open, and he gets the big play by going to the wide receiver, Brian Alford, on the play. Nice pitch and catch by the Boilermakers.
Rick Colato's Boilermakers with a field goal lead with just under 6 minutes to go first quarter. They have it at the Penn State 36. Allstott. And he he goes for about 5. And every time he carries it, you seem to think, well, there goes 5 more yards.
Well, and that's really, hard to technique. When you put only 10 guys on the football field, you gain 5 yards, you're in trouble this time. And I think Penn State, you're going to see 2 guys come on and only 1 guy go off on the field right now. Purdue, here's a shot of it. They got 2 guys on this side, 3 the tight end here. Here's the flanker, but there's no wide receiver, the X receiver to the bottom of the field. They only got 10 men on the field.
Well, he didn't need a block off
That's right. He's only going to run inside.
240-pounder took it for 4 yards. 2nd down and 6. Rogers cuts up the middle, and Corey Rogers has got another Purdue first down. Inside the Penn State 25, Herring and Tate combine on the hit from the secondary.
Corey Rogers has been around Purdue as long as I've been around Purdue. He was the 1991 freshman Big Ten back of the year, and he comes in. He's a big tailback, the type of tailbacks you have to have when you have to block for the fullback occasionally. And Corey Rogers has his head together this year. He's running the ball north and south and picking up good yardage.
Picked up the first down. Now leads Mike Allstott, but he had too much of a lead. This is Canadian football. Allstott, they're going to bring this one back. Rogers, he wanted to get that head start block you were talking about.
Exactly what it was.
And a penalty on Purdue.
Of course, he feels he has a future in arena ball, too.
Well, we talked to Jim Coletto a little bit about that yesterday, and he said, we put films together just to show Corey Rogers that, yeah, you're a good tailback, but if you want to play at the next level, you better be able to block, and you better be able to catch balls out of the backfield.
And, of course, that's what every offensive coordinator has to have when he takes over a running back that comes into a big major university. These guys are all stars in high school. They all have run the ball, and then they have to come here and do things that they're not used to, like block.
And Rogers and Watson will share the tailback spot throughout this game. Edwin Watson is going to be a good one. Probably has more speed than anybody in the Purdue backfield.
And both the tailbacks go through 215 to 220. Big tailbacks.
1st and 15 with a penalty. Tresker throws on the run. Alford can't quite handle that one. Coverage by Brian Miller over on the corner. You always talk about a tough throw for a right-hander going the other way. That couldn't be too easy for Tresker.
It's something you work on all the time, rolling out away from your arm that time, going to the wrong side of the field this time. But again, Brian Miller to the outside had help deep. You see number 13 in your picture. He's the safety. He's going to take anything long, so Brian Miller can take those short routes and make it a tough throw for the quarterback. Purdue is going to have to throw the ball down the middle of the field to keep those safeties honest.
Hole looking on to a 2nd and 15. Tresker only 1 for 5, but he's had a couple drops. Play action this time, deep middle. This one's caught near the 16-yard line as he got it to Craig Allen.
And I think offensive coordinator Tim Salem and Jim Coletto saw the same thing I did. Anytime you have safeties helping corners, you have to throw the ball against the linebackers over the middle of the field. You see the corner shoving the safety, the middle of the field is wide open. And in college football, which is many of teams running 2 deep zones, that's the part of the field that is open and can be taken advantage of.
Tim Salem on the right of your screen behind the glass there. 3rd down and 2. Rogers blasts his way. Boy, holding on for dear life was Filardi. I don't think he got the first down. Looks like he's a little bit short.
That was a great play by Filardi. I thought they had that. They had a lead back going in there. And now you wonder if this is close enough. You're trying to beat Penn State. You got to go for this.
I got a 240-pound fullback. I'm not going to stop here and kick a field goal, right?
And he's not going to be playing for you next year. He's going up to play for another team. You might as well use him.
Here comes Watson, and they're going to have a full house backfield. Watson, Rogers, and Allstott. 4th down. A little less than a yard. Allstott's got a hole left side. Inside the 10. 1st and goal. Purdue.
Purdue calls this formation the robust T. It's the same formation that was called at Ohio State with Woody Hayes for years, the robust T, with guys like Bob Ferguson running at fullback. You'll see Allstott get that ball. Corey Rogers, number 44, seals it on the middle linebacker that time, and they just ram it up inside.
And if Tate doesn't hold on to Allstott's left foot, that's a touchdown. Rogers on 1st and goal, and he got back about to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Kim Herring, who's some kind of player from the secondary, number 3, came up and made the hit.
Kim Herring is, when you talk to the coaches, they'll tell you he's a guy that could be playing tailback for about 100 NCAA universities in this country. But I think he's a great free safety, and that's where his future is, and then you look at the inside the 20 defense, you know, 8 of 10 have been touchdowns, and the other 2 are field goals. People have been getting points when they go inside the 20.
And Perdue is very adept at that. Their red zone efficiency is over 90%. Here they are, 2nd and goal at the 9. Tresker over the middle. Rogers made a tough catch. Jukes his way down near the 3.
Brad, you're right.
The 2-minute mark, first quarter, 3-0 Perdue.
Brad, you're right. He made a tough catch because he was throwing the ball to All-Star.
Oh, maybe that was why.
You're going to see the fullback go about 6 or 7 yards, number 40, and then Corey Rogers gets knocked right into the play where he wants to throw the ball to fullback. That's a nice pick play, not even by design.
Down to the 3.5 for Perdue. And 3rd and goal. Wants to throw a slant. Almost picked off by Brian Miller. And it'll be 4th and goal.
Brian Miller had a big interception versus Ohio State last week and really thought he turned the game around for him, but they weren't able to get into the end zone. You see the type of ability he has at the corner. Their best cover guy from the outside is Brian Miller.
So Tresker got him down close. And now Bobich, who hit one of 37 earlier, has a 21-yard attempt upcoming.
But once he has missed, he has hooked.
On the left hash, Bobich right down the middle. With 1:25. Joe Paterno's Nittany Lions trailing by 6 as we enter the 2nd quarter. Brian Milne, unhappy fullback, having just fumbled, and Perdue takes over offensively at the 25. Tresker, look out! Hit from behind, and now the ball loose again. And Perdue got back on top of it. I think it was Allstott who got back there. It's going to be a big loss of about 10. Tresker got nailed by Brian Miller on the corner blitz.
You're exactly right. And when you go 2 tight ends, that opens the possibility of that corner coming from the outside. Brian Miller's coming backside, and Tresker never obviously even saw the play. And very fortunate this time that Mike Allstott turned around in time to see the football, and he's the one that goes, slides across and scoops it up with his arm.
A loss of 11. 2nd down, 21. Tresker way back at the 14-yard line now. 3 wide-out group for the Boilermakers. Tresker throws short to Allstott, trying to let him do it by himself, and he draws a lot of white jerseys in a hurry. Clint Holes came up to make the tackle at about the 21-yard line.
Brad, going back again, we had the interception. Now here's the fumble by Milne. Perdue comes up with the football that time. And watch to the corner left side of your screen. A very frustrated Ingram. Bobby Ingram right here knows how important this football team is right here. Upset with his team. He really let him the riot act as he came to the sideline. He wants this game very badly.
3rd down and 14. From the shotgun is Tresker. Rolls and fires. Whoa, did he throw that into coverage? And he completed it to Kirk Alamadati. Well, you got to be kidding me.
That's one of those that if you don't complete it, you're on the bench.
This is a seeing eye pass coming
up. He's running to his left, throws, going away. All his momentum is going to the left, throws across his body, does everything wrong. Brian Noble hits him right in the face as he throws it, and then he rips it into Kirk Alamadati that time in the middle of 3 Penn State defenders for a first down.
Jim Nelson, the linebacker, I think thought he was either going to knock it down or intercept it, and it somehow found its way through on 3rd and 14, a pickup of 16. First down, Perdue. And now Tresker on a bootleg, fires and completes it again, and Alamadati's got back-to-back receptions and back-to-back Perdue first downs. Tip off the 95 college basketball season with Midnight Madness. Hit shots like this. That starts at 11:59 Eastern from the Universities of Maryland, Virginia, and Michigan. And ESPN2 gets in on the fun at 1 Eastern, midnight Central from Kansas, Minnesota, and Mississippi State. And that is all coming up later. It is almost time for hoops. Can you believe that?
No.
And it's also time for Dick Vitale. Can you believe that?
That's your off-season.
Yep. First down, Allstott into Penn State territory. Got 3 or 4 before Brandon Noble could make the hit. Fulardi helped him on the tackle.
Mike Allstott is averaging 5.7 yards, but he was very upset with the way he played last week. 2 big fumbles against Minnesota going in the first half, or Purdue might have put away the Minnesota football team early in that football game and never really had a chance for Darkins to put those big numbers up in the second half.
5 straight 100-yard games for Mike Allstott. Total yardage fairly close, but thanks to the 3 turnovers, it's all Purdue on the scoreboard. On the option. And not much doing there for Watson, who's run out of bounds near the line of scrimmage. Let's check in with Mike Tirico. Mike?
Oh, Brad, you mentioned Dick Vitale, so we'll show you a Notre Dame highlight. Ron Paulus and the Irish playing Army at the Meadowlands. Fake reverse, send Derek Mays down into double coverage. He comes away with a 47-yard completion. Touchdown run later, Irish up 14.
Yeah, Dick doesn't miss many Notre Dame football. Joe Pa, Joe Grandpa, as a matter of fact now. His daughter Diana had a baby boy yesterday. 3rd down and 6 from the shotgun. Oh, did Tresker get nailed as he threw? Terry Killens, who leads Penn State in pressures and sacks, shows why with that hit.
They came with the middle linebacker at that time, right up the middle. The back did it, but the stunt from the outside, the end is going to wrap around this defense. Number 92, right up the gut. Purdue does not adjust in their pass protection. The quarterback catches one right in his chest as he lets it go. Those are the toughest to complete, no matter what the coverage is.
Right. Degnan to punt. Bobby Ingram is back for Penn State. Degnan chases Ingram back to the 8. But look out when he comes the other way. Almost got back to the 28. About a 19-yard punt return for Bobby Ingram. 12:05 to go first half.
A 40-yard punt.
I would call that scratching where it itches.
It's real wide.
I think Derek Brown's itching a little bit. He really had his neck and upper body into that hit on Curtis Enos, and he's still wobbly as they help him off the field. We'll check on his condition shortly. Meanwhile, nice play fake for Richardson. Watch it all. Ingram down the middle. Touchdown. No, he dropped it. Wait a minute. They say touchdown.
I can't believe that call.
That ball came out.
That ball was not caught. And that guy is staring right at it. I don't know what he's looking at. There's a football in the game.
Now, I called it, but I had my back to it. That ball came loose, and I tried to correct myself all in one sentence.
You called it because the referee put his hands up in the air. I mean, I've seen volleyball players hold the ball longer than that. First down, Penn State loves to go deep on this ball. The ball is thrown. It looks like he catches the ball, and it comes out before his foot even comes down. That is a real questionable call.
Yeah, it is. They give it to Penn State. The extra point is up and good by Conway. And I don't blame the Purdue fans for the boos that you're going to hear right now as we get set to go to a break. We'll take another look at Jim Coletto thinks what we think. Did Bobby Ingram catch this? I don't think so.
And right in it, did not execute it well, and Purdue gets a stop.
That'll force Brett Conway for a field goal of 35 yards, 5 out of 9 on the year. And he got it. Conway tacks 3 more on for Penn State with 6 minutes, 27 seconds remaining in the first half. The Nittany Lions lead the Boilermakers by 4. 6:27 remaining in the half. Purdue holds Penn State to a field goal. Nittany Lions stretch their lead to 4. And you know, Jim Coletto's still thinking about the 7 that shouldn't have been.
The 7 you're talking about, Brad, again, Bobby Ingram, great All-American wide receivers going down the middle. It appears he makes the catch, but he never really had control of it when his foot hit the ground, and that's the key point. When his foot hits the ground, and that, I tell you, when the ball's laying on the turf and you're calling a 50-yard touchdown pass, if I was that official, I'd be self-conscious.
I'd be looking for an escort out of Ross-Ade Stadium after the game. This is homecoming. We got a big crowd here. Conway will tee it up.
You can tell how windy it is at this field.
Yeah.
Someone is going to have to hold the ball. You called it bluster. You're right.
Brian Miller has to hold for the kick. Lee Johnson lets it bounce, touchback, and the Boilermakers will work from the 20-yard line. Coming up at 5 o'clock Eastern, PGA Tour's Las Vegas Invitational. $1.5 million in total prize money on the line as they head into day 4 of the 5-round tourney. Leaderboard, Dave Edwards is there in a tie for the lead. That's coming up at 5:30 here on ESPN.
Real important drive now to kind of show that defense that they can move the ball. They got a key stop. They do not want to give it back to Penn State right away. They need a couple, at least 2 or 3 first downs.
Pressured, flag down. I beg your pardon, that is not a flag down. That's something that flew out of the crowd. There's something they handed out today, and I don't know what they are exactly.
But they're yellow.
But they're yellow, and we've got a lot of them on a windy day. That's not a good sign. But Allstott, anyway, got out across the 25. There's one of them.
It's either that or it's a real starchy flag.
That one won't even fit in your pocket.
You have to fold it to get it in your pocket.
Purdue mixing it up pretty well with a run and pass.
Yeah, 15 runs so far, 16 passes. And Rick Trefsker started out the game missing his first 3, then went 6 for 8, missed his last 4. Good call going to the screen to get him back on track.
Second down and 3. Allstott, big opening out across the 35 to the 37 for the big fella before Aaron Collins can make the tackle. Let's check in with Mike Tirico.
Well, Brad, you guys had a touchdown that shouldn't have been. Florida should have had this touchdown, but was denied. This Danny Werfel pass to Elijah Williams out of the backfield. They say he stepped out. He, in fact, did not on the replay, but he did run it in from 1 yard out, and the Gators have just scored. They have a 27-20 lead, pending the point.
Track meet going on in the SEC.
What else is it, right?
That's right, 10-6. Here the Big Ten. Watson. Nice second effort by Watson to get out to the 42-yard line.
Those big backs. Penn State, welcome to the Big Ten, because what they have just faced it the last couple of weeks. Not only do you have a big tailback, you got number 40, the big fullback coming right at you, Collins. Taking on, did a nice job throwing off Allstott that time, but when you have a big tailback that goes 220 right in behind him, no arm tackling those guys.
Allstott getting the kinks out of the net. Might mean he gets the carry on 2nd and 5. Here he comes. Broken tackle. In between 2 Penn State defenders. Ball came loose at the very end, but he got the first down at the 49.
Brad, don't you love talking to Joe Paterno when you ask him who does Allstott remind you of? He goes, Alan Amici.
1954.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, you know, I saw him running in black and white, you know.
Yeah, he won a Heisman for Wisconsin, but Joe talks about that. I look at him, I think of guys like, maybe like Larry Zonka, only faster. I don't know.
He's a little better looking, too.
A lot better looking. The nose is a lot better than Zonka's. 48 yards already. Near midfield for Purdue, trailing by 4 here in the late second quarter. Allstott again. And Allstott inside the 45 to the 44-yard line. That's about 7 more. Polardi made the tackle.
Well, let's start to give some of that credit to that offensive line for Purdue down there. Alfie Hill, their senior left tackle, he's right here. He does a nice job opening that hole to the outside this time. Watch him react. Inside rush by Terry Killens, number 92. He walls him off. Allstott's into the secondary. Too big of a guy. 8 yards running the ball on a simple off-tackle play.
Second down, a long 2 coming up. Here comes a blitz. Watson ran right by where the blitz came from and has a first down near the 35-yard line. That blitz came from that exact spot, so somebody picked it up or he ran right by it, one of the 2.
Edwin Watson, very interesting recruit for Purdue. One of those guys they usually don't get. He's out of Pontiac, Michigan, Pontiac Northern High School. Narrowed it down to Notre Dame, Michigan, and Purdue. And what they sold him on, hey, you've got an opportunity to run the ball here. Ty Wheatley and Bayaka Batuka's up there, and you're going to come here, carry the ball, and we run the ball the way the pros do. You block, you run, you catch the ball.
And he ran for a first down just outside the 35. Watson in motion as Allstott gets the call. And Allstott got about 3 before Scioli can bring him down. Let's check in with Mike Tirico. Michael?
Told you during the last Florida touchdown that the Gators scored again. After the kickoff, Auburn was intercepted. Werfel with the offside, a free play, 22 yards to Ike Hilliard. First TD pass of the game for the Gators, who lead by 8. Just your 48-point first half with time to go.
Fred, you know, you called it a track meet. You know, it reminds me of one of those car races. They just keep going around the track. The NASCAR 500.
Like that NASCAR circuit
right.
down there.
They're on lap 53. They got 150 to go. They need a pit stop.
Well, here we got a tractor pull. That's 10-6 with 2:54 left.
Jerry Sandusky knew he was what he was in for today against this Purdue offense. They are really varied in what they do. I mean, you just can't load up against the run. They're throwing the ball to the outside just enough. And, you know, early in the game, the tight end has been open on a lot of misdirection. Let's see if Salem and Coletto does go back to their tight end on a little play action pass here soon.
Only one pass on this drive so far. Here comes the play action there he's talking about. There's the tight end. First down.
Well, I am calling the plays, so that does make it a lot easier.
Well, you used to call him here with a gold helmet on. 14-yard pickup for John Blackman, the big tight end.
Blackman is going to line up left right here, come across with the play action pass going down. Play action play in the middle of the formation. There's the tight end. He's been open 2 or 3 times. You file those things away, and then you call them later in the game when you know you get it. Call the play, easy pitch and catch.
Inside the 20. Here comes a blitz on first down. Allstott ran right by it, and he's going to score. For the dozer.
Tractor pull, my eye. This is a souped-up tractor.
Have overdrive.
You got it. I think Tim Allen has souped up this thing inside. I mean, he's not running away from linebackers here. He outruns a safety that runs a 4.5 40 right to the end zone. I could just see general managers' mouth watering in the NFL about this guy coming in.
Almost an exact replica of a touchdown he had in the opening drive last week against the Minnesota Gophers. I mean, had it not been for artificial surface here, you'd have thought it was the same thing. 18-yard rumble for the #1 rushing touchdown career record holder for Purdue. That's his 34th rushing touchdown. He holds the top spot, 18 yards for the score.
Man, I'll tell you, there's about 15 tailbacks that want this guy lining up with them. And you talk about running backs, there are running backs. You know, you think back, Brad, you know, you talk back 60, 74, 88, there were some great running backs, but not like the Big Ten has now.
I guess. There's the number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and Allstott number 14. And you know, you could throw Alex Smith in there had he not been injured. He'd be in the number 5 spot ahead of Eddie George.
And so would Kurt Enos if he hadn't played a game at the linebacker.
That's some pretty good running backs in the Big Ten. And there's the best fullback in the country. And I don't care who else is playing out there. I'm sorry, this guy can do it.
Well, I think for the last 3 years, he was good enough to play in the NFL at fullback. He came back. He was one of the guys that led this Purdue offseason program. They had 32 players that did not miss a day of summer workouts trying to get this team over the hump.
There's a pretty good player in his own right when his days at Purdue, Leroy Keys. He's a running backs coach in his first year in that capacity. Curly Cedars from the 7-yard line of the kick return. And pulls his way across the 30 to the 31. Nice return as he weaves his way behind his blockers.
Well, Leroy Keys, you had a shot. He's come his first year on this staff coaching the running backs, and he's got a couple great ones to work with. And he's the voted the outstanding player in Purdue history of all time. Inside trap play. They've been running wide. This time they gash it up the middle, and Allstott just runs away from the safeties that time, splits them up the middle, and takes it as nice a drive as I've seen this year, running pass up the field.
Allstott with his career touchdown broke Leroy Keys' mark of scores, and when you consider Leroy Keys was second in the Heisman balloting in 1968 to one Orenthal James Simpson, he was a pretty good player. Let's check in with Mike Tirico.
Just want to remind everyone that the Office Max halftime report is on the way. Chris Lee and Craig join us from Birmingham. We'll have the scores from here. Update Florida-Auburn, their latest pit stop in the track meet, and we'll talk about the Big Ten. Half the conference in action, scores and highlights coming up at the half. Brad?
All right, Mike. Joe Paterno's Nittany Lions trailing 13-10. Full complement of timeouts left for Penn State. Nice play Might be a holding call on top of everything else.
I think you're right. And it's one of those plays that's going to be a tough call that time.
Greg Williams submarines the running back and the penalty to boot.
And now what do? It's going to be 3rd and about 9, or from the point of the spot, they're going to march up another 10 yards and make it 2nd and about 20. I think they're going to decline that penalty and force Penn State into a throwing situation. Happens on the left side this time. Craig Williams, number 58, just runs right through the tight end's block. Left side of the screen right here. He's going to take in, get inside Zimmer, and there you see the hole, takes him down, sticks out his right arm, and makes the tackle on the play. Very dangerous call here. 3rd and 9. You wonder if the 2nd and 20 might be a little bit safer.
Well, we'll find out right here. Bobby Ingram comes in with a play from the bench for Penn State. There's what the Lions have done, and Wally Richards either doesn't like the call or was running out of time. He'll take a timeout with a minute left in the half, and Perdue leading Penn State by 3.
It's
13-10 Purdue.
A lot of decisions in a game. Jim Clettles had a big one. Interesting talking to Joe. He said, hey, I made a couple bad decisions this year. Coaches have bad calls too in games. He said, I should have kicked the field goal in that game against Wisconsin. Should have taken it in the first half. He said, I like when a coach gets a mistake.
Yeah, that was great.
Once every 25 years.
3rd down and 9. Both wideouts to the top of your screen for Richardson off play action. Goes that way. I don't know. Did Freddie Scott get to the stick?
No, he did not. He's
I don't
short.
think so. Right at the 40-yard line, and the stick was dropped to make way for him. He's about 1.5 yards short.
Yeah, they're going to have to punt the ball. They cannot chance a turnover, which would be, if they don't make a first down, it'd be like turning the ball over on the 40. They have to punt it. You see Fran Gainer's upset. You got a receiver, a primary receiver, one of your key players, running an out route, and 1 yard short of the first down.
I think that's probably what they're talking about right now. It's 3rd down and 9. Why break a pattern off at 8 yards?
Right.
Instead, it's a punt coming up. Daryl Kania will kick. Craig Allen back for the Boilermakers. Allen just wants to hold on to this and not make a mistake of his own. Broke a tackle, and he's not going to get much. Maybe a couple of yards on the return. But more importantly, Purdue held Penn State on a 3rd down conversion, and with 44 seconds left, they should be able to take the lead to halftime. And we should be able to bring you to the Office Max halftime report in about 44 seconds, as we'll update you on what Gary calls the NASCAR game going on between Florida and Auburn. The undefeated Hawkeyes and Tennessee and Alabama. A preview of that big battle in the SEC coming up later tonight. You know the joke in Alabama, don't you? The guy from Alabama's got a dog that every time Alabama beats Tennessee, he howls all night. Tennessee, the guy from Tennessee says, what's he do when Tennessee beats Alabama? He says, I don't know, my dog's only 9 years old. It's been a long time. Here's straight up the middle with Allstott. He just kept on going out to the 32.
Hey, instead of falling on it, you might as well get your key guy some yards.
Yeah.
I think this is an absolute perfect call. You hear some of the fans, a little bit of a boo birds. They want him to go for it, but that's not Bob Greasy or Mike Phipps they got in the huddle in there right now. Let's go to halftime, 13-10, and put the pressure on Penn State.
Probably the final play of the half coming up, and it is Mike Allstott. And Allstott rips off another gain out to the 45-yard line with 6 seconds left. Timeout taken. Edwards going to move the sticks. And the half will come to a close. Number 40's had a big half. I don't think I'd be booing my team if I was the homecoming crowd at Purdue. Their team's in front of the number 20 team in the country, 13-10. And right now, the Office Max halftime report is coming your way. Here's Mike Tirico. Mike. Lions is not giving up the football, and they had in the last 3 games, and here they have 3.5. And it led to points for Purdue, and they're out in front. Time of possession, pretty much. Yeah. Purdue controlling that too.
I think Jim Coletta loves this stat right here. 41 plays in the first half. When Purdue has the ball, Ingram and Scott are on the bench.
Jim Coletta looking for his first Big Ten win in over a year. He's got the lead at the break. Bodic to kick. Curtis Enos. The Going to have to watch this one go. It'll be a touchback, and Penn State will work from the 20 as we check in with Adrian Carson.
Brad, just before Coach Coletto brought his team back on the field here at Rosyth, he told me, Adrian, this team has always had a problem believing they have what it takes to knock off a national power. If everyone can come up with the kind of effort that Allstott showed in the first half, they will pull off the upset. As far as Coach Paterno and Penn State is concerned, he is looking for some leadership now. He says on offense, they're not playing terribly. They just cannot turn the ball over now.
And we'll see what they do as they come up for the first down of the first play of the third quarter from the 20-yard line. Milne, the fullback. Enos, the tail, as the numbers on Wally Richardson through an interception in that first quarter. Here's Enos, left side. He's tough to bring down. Danny Wachell does collar him, but he got about 5 yards on the carry.
You know, like Adrian reported at halftime, Brad, I think there's a lot of guys that would like to believe, but so many things have gone bad for this football team late in football games.
Right.
And they've had chances to win 2 games with field goals. They had Notre Dame right there on the 5-yard line, couldn't push it in. Hard to believe when things keep going wrong for you all the time.
Well, we're kidding around there. 5.5 yards away from being undefeated. As you said, they stopped at the Notre Dame 5-yard line and missed 2 field goals by about a foot each. Richardson on a bootleg throws to the tight end, Olsemer. And Olsemer taken down by Willie Burroughs.
Really nice defense by Burroughs that time. He played off the deep throw, forced the ball to go to the tight end, and came up and most importantly, made the tackle. Look where Wally Richardson throwing the ball so far in this game. And I think that really what they need to do is throw the ball outside and deep. They got 2 wide receivers. They've had success down here, obviously, with the touchdown play. But they need to throw the ball, air it out, and loosen up those zones for the outside of the football field for them to open up this defense.
The only time they've aired it out was on what was called a touchdown pass. It shouldn't have been. 3rd down and 2. Enos, first down.
Oh.
And Perdue may be lucky he didn't just rip off a long run there.
Derek Brown, number 2, has to come up and make that tackle.
Derek back in there.
You got it. He had to come into this football game. And now here comes the fullback busting through there. He's already put you out of the game once. He goes 230 pounds, and Brown comes up and makes the play. Of course, Derek Brown had that huge play against Notre Dame where he had the interception and turned the game around too.
And he had a huge headache in the first half, so we're glad he's playing again. First down just inside the 34. Richardson fires. Ingram wide out screen. 3rd time today. It's worked a couple of times. It works well here too. Bob O'Connor, the middle linebacker, finally tracks down Ingram, but he goes for almost 20 again. It worked for 30 yards earlier. Then on the ensuing play, they fumbled. Milne dropped the ball right after one of these plays.
Quick screen to the outside. You see Marco Rivera, number 54, come out. That's what's really impressive about this Penn State football team is the way their offensive linemen can run. I mean, they are in great shape. They have as good a speed as any offensive line. They just don't have the speed in the backfield that they had last year. That's why they're not getting the big plays.
Another 100-plus game for Bobby Ingram. 3rd this year. Slant trying to go to him and a flag down. They're going to have interference on Jamel Coleman.
Jamel Coleman thought it was going to be the hitch that time, and he was ready to put another 6 points up on the board that time. He knew he had help deep. He was reading the drop of Richardson. He climbed all over the back, but hey, you have to make big plays. Watch, he looks inside, he sees the quarterback just stop. He comes up, goes right through Ingram that time. And had the ball been thrown to the outside, he might have got it, but that one was thrown accurately. He gets a penalty.
Penn State has already moved it to the 41-yard line of Perdue.
I don't think that would upset Bob Morris, defensive coordinator for Perdue, to see some aggressive play from his secondary there. He'll take a couple of those plays.
And the officials, I think, have called a timeout of their own here, at least momentarily. Now they're ready for action, I guess. And meanwhile, Penn State changes, or rather Perdue changes up some defensive bodies.
I think Ben Metzger came in that time for Greg Smith inside.
First down, Nittany Lions at the Boilermaker 41-yard line. Whoa! Aaron Hall. Might be the first time I've called his name today, but it was a big one, about a 4-yard loss.
Last year, Aaron Hall played the strong side linebacker. This year, they're lining him up on the weak side of the formation. This was an all-out blitz. Aaron Hall, on the bottom of your screen, comes from the outside. and just runs under the block that time from Pete Marsick, number 71, who's playing because an injured Keith Conlon is out of this football game. He was hurt in the Wisconsin game, and Aaron Hall came in, beat the block, and met him in the backfield.
Second down at 13. Archie lost 3. Off play action, Richardson got some pressure, and Ingram incomplete down the middle. And a nice job that time by Metzger again to put some heat on the Penn State quarterback.
Last time Aaron Hall came in and blitzed the linebacker as Metzger put some heat on. Aaron Hall took the crossing tight end, took that throw away, and Perdue doubled the 2 wideouts. Watch from the left side of your screen. You'll see the tight end cross. Aaron Hall, number 39, runs with them. That throw is not there. That allows the 2 safeties and corners to double downfield. There wasn't anybody available. Good call by the defense, Bobby Morris.
Third down and 13. Richardson in trouble again. Bumped into one of his own linemen. Now he'll just get what he can. And what he could do is get back to the original line of scrimmage before Bob O'Connor made the hit. Penn State's got a punt. They had a nice drive going, and then it stalled in a hurry. And Aaron Hall's the guy really that stalled it with that blitz.
And 2 great plays. But again, I think Fran Gainer's going to look at this field and say, look, no one is going to go deep. He watches the tapes on Sunday. He's going to say, doggone it, I should have sent someone deep. Both receivers stopped at about 15 yards that time. The field was crowded.
Brett Conway hits one off the side of his foot. Allen calls for the fair catch and dropped it. Well, I think he got back on top of it. He did. Loose ball, but it's Allen all bent over, funny underneath the football.
He ain't going to let go of that one.
No way. And it'll be Perdue at about the 13-yard line on offense with a 3-point lead when we come back.
It's a real fine balance when you're trying to call plays on the offensive side.
Brett Conway hit from 35 earlier. This is a 42-yard field goal attempt, and he hit it perfect. 6:09 to go in the third quarter. And lo and behold, we are deadlocked, 13 apiece between Penn State and Perdue. Wally Richardson on the horn upstairs has led his team to a field goal to tie the game with 6:09 left. We've had 2 lead changes and now a tie. And Conway will tee it up. Brett just hit the 42-yard field goal to deadlock this football game. Joe Hagens and Lee Johnson are back deep.
So do you come back with Reeves again, another one?
Boy, I don't know.
I think you do. It'd be too tough just to put him in there for 3 games. You could put him.
Johnson 3 yards deep. He's going to bring it out. He's taking 199 for a touchdown this year. He only got about 22 or 3 out of this one, but that's where Perdue will work as we check in with Adrian Carson on the sideline.
Brad, thanks very much. Actually, a little bit upway in the stands here in the south end zone with the athlete that your pal up there in the press box is called the greatest athlete he ever played with, Darryl Stingley, part of that recruiting class in 1970. Just before the end of halftime, Coach Galetto told me, Darryl, that his team has never really believed they could play with a national power and pull off an upset. They're doing a pretty good job at this point.
As far as I can tell, they're doing a real good job this first half, at least during the first half. You know, most coaches use psychology a lot. I'm sure coaches just trying to motivate the kids to get them up for a big game. But they've done well thus far.
At your position, Coach Paterno was saying he was looking for some leadership. Bobby Ingram for the Nittany Lions seemed to be doing a pretty good job in that role.
Yeah, Bobby's a good receiver. I'm sure a lot of pro scouts will be looking at him. He has good speed, good quickness, and he's the best added plus for Penn State Ball Club.
That quarterback of yours up in the press box said that you were a player who always liked to be dressed very properly. One game, one time, apparently everything was right except the jersey.
Yeah, on occasion, you know, I guess during that game I was a little nervous or something. I put my jersey on backwards. Gary was quick to point that out.
Thanks very much, Darryl. I'm just surprised Gary can still find him going down the field.
You know what I think it was? I threw the ball behind him so many times, he wanted to try to give me another target.
That is a great story that Gary shared with us yesterday and was teasing Darryl about before the football game. Everything was perfect. The spats, the sweatbands, the jersey, everything. The jersey was backwards with a V-neck going down behind his back. Well, he's still pretty snappy, I'd say, as the dresser.
One of those guys who could have played Big Ten basketball or baseball or done anything in his day.
What a receiver. Third down for Perdue. And today it's not working for them. They came in 50% of the season and only 1 for 8 on this Saturday.
Here they come.
in tall and throws an interception right across the middle to Clint Holes. First turnover of the day. It couldn't have come at a worse time or a worse spot on the field.
Well, you talk about a two-back quarterback system that's going to backfire. This is as bad as it could have got for John Reeves, the sophomore who Jim Coletto says we're going to have to get him ready. He's just too good to sit on the bench. We have to find opportunities to him. This time the blitz comes, tries to go to the tight end on the left side of your screen, throws the ball slightly behind, and Holes comes in that time, picks the ball off, and puts that Purdue defense in a crisis situation on the 30-yard line.
As the sun begins to shine over Ross H. Teddy, and Mike Archie takes it for almost 5 yards near the 15 before he's run out of bounds. And there's Clint Holes, the hero back, as they call him, that made the interception. And for Clint, his first interception of the season. He took over for Jason Collins, who you might recall went out with that injury.
In the Syracuse game. I think it was Rutgers.
Rutgers game. Yeah.
One of those Eastern schools.
So great opportunity here for Penn State, having hit the tying field goal, and now at the 15-yard line of Purdue. Archie again. Mike Archie doing some tough work off the right side. Bob O'Connor, the linebacker, makes the hit. It'll bring up a third down. And about 4 as you see some other Big Ten scores. Indiana trying to upset Iowa.
Well, that's a surprise with Ditto and Smith out there, two best offensive players.
And in the Southwest Conference, Rice has rebounded from a 10-point deficit to take the lead. Here, 13-13. 4.5 to go third quarter, and 3rd and 3 for the Nittany Lions. Enos. No! Great hit by Aaron Hall, who's had a sensational third quarter.
You bet. He was the leading tackler a year ago for the 94 Boilermaker football team. He played an inside linebacker. They moved him outside. You know, he had to go through a lot this year. He thought he'd be a butt-kissing candidate. His teammate, Jiggy O'Connor, was the guy. But this time, Aaron Hall takes on the fullback, runs outside, and with one arm takes down that big tailback.
He was a heck of a fullback, recruited by Nebraska and Stanford to play offense. Purdue and Penn State wanted him to play defense. He's a Boilermaker linebacker, and he made a big hit there. 33-yard field goal attempt by Conway. Oh, just turned that baby in. He hooked it in, Gary.
You got it.
Right.
You got it.
And Penn State has regained the lead.
Actually, that one was blown in.
Okay. 3 minutes. I can't win. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left third quarter. 16-13 Penn State, but as Coletto and Trefsker look on, maybe it could have been worse after that turnover. 16-13. Penn State leads. We start the fourth quarter. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Adrian Karsten from West Lafayette, Indiana. Allstott got to maybe the 10, and he almost lost the ball the last time they gave it to him, Gary.
A different quarterback, and it looked this time like John Reeves did not place it in a spot that Allstott was expecting. It looked like he just slides right through past him. Remember, Mike Allstott is looking at the play ahead of him. He's not looking at the ball, and they use different quarterbacks. The ball handling isn't exactly the same. The ball's on the turf. They wasted a play.
Couple that Mike would have loved to have grabbed back last week against Minnesota that helped the demise of the Boilermakers against the Golden Gophers. Reeves slant. Salavadati, did he catch it?
He caught it on the bounce.
Twice.
He did. Mark Tate hit him in the back, and Kirk Olivadotti, of course, the son of Coach Olivadotti of the Miami Dolphins, as defensive coordinator, and you're going to hit right at the back this time. Nice throw by Reeves. Little stop route to the outside. Olivadotti catches it, gets hit, and he catches the rebound.
That's a good grab. Third catch of the day, but not enough for the first down. So out comes Bobich for a field goal attempt, 22-yarder. Try to tie it up from 22. And he does. With 13 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the ball game. We're dead even again. 16-16. Derek Brown's made it to the sideline again. Meanwhile, his defensive teammates try to stop a third down and 4 for Penn State.
Perdue in a blitz look.
Richardson under pressure, and down he goes, and the ball is loose. And Perdue's got it. It's John Crick on the bottom of the pile.
This is a very poor read from Wally Richardson. The blitz look was there all the way. He had a pump fake on that play. You can't not make those types of mistakes on blitzes. You don't have that much time. Chike O'Keefer from the outside, number 34, is going to come from it, and he is going to plant one right underneath the chin, outside of that formation. He's coming in, and one pump fake, you don't have that kind of time. The ball pops loose, and Perdue is going to have that football. Wow, 5 turnovers in this football game for Penn State, and unbelievably, this football game is still tied.
Sooner or later, you just think that Perdue can capitalize with a touchdown and change the whole complexion of the game. John Reeves stays in at quarterback. When you hear that name, you think of Carlos Alvarez on the other end for Florida, but that's not quite the same thing. Allstott keeps his footing, and he picks up 5 yards. And that time put his hand down and just kept crawling.
He ran right through Jim Nelson, number 44, that time. And Nelson gives one of those plays that so many guys has had when they play against Mike Allstott for the first time. Kind of get up and go, darn, why don't they do that stuff?
Perdue came in with one of the best percentages in the country inside the 20. And today, a touchdown in 3 possessions. With field goals as well. They sure like to get another touchdown to add to that stat right here. Allstott, he might get it. Allstott into the secondary, and he's down inside the 10. It's 1st and goal, and now penalty marker comes in late.
Terrible late block that time. I don't know if the wide receiver was blocking him all the way and then fell over the pile, but the referee saw the play late and threw the flag.
Clint Holes is the guy that got knocked down.
And I'm not sure which wide receiver was doing it, but it was either Isaac Jones, 83, or Brian Alford, number 80, blocking as the play went along.
Negates a great run.
I think they're going to put it away.
Disregard the
Oh, all right.
And Joe said, get out of here with that one. But I'll tell you what, Jim Coletto was saying, why didn't you pick up your flag, change one of those early calls? Again, great patience by Allstott up the middle. Now from the left side of your screen, you'll see the wide receiver. Now it's going to be, as we watch the second replay, from the right side of your screen, the wide receiver is going to keep blocking, and he pushed this guy over the foot. I think that's a good no call. He just stayed with his block.
It is 1st and goal, Perdue at the 8-yard line. Corey Rogers, he broke a tackle and got down to the 5 as we check in with Adrian.
Brad, this decision to stay with John Reeves is purely Jim Coletto's, but some of the success has to go right to Rick Trefsker because some of the best coaching he's getting, that is John Reeves, is coming from Trefsker. The coaches are leaving those two alone. They have a very good relationship on the sidelines. Prior to that turnover, Reeves got together with Trefsker. He says, calm down, listen to what the coaches are telling you, go out there and take charge.
Good point. Tim Salem told us that yesterday. So this kid is all class. He's been nothing but help for John Reeves. From the 4, Rogers, touchdown! And for Corey Rogers, his 26th career touchdown.
Well, I'll tell you, you can just feel a sigh of breath go out of Jim Coletto because everybody in the stadium, including us, has been questioning why he would stick with John Reeves. They get a big turnover then, and behind Mike Allstott, Corey Rogers, they power and push that football into the end zone. And, well, you got to give some credit to the offensive line for Perdue. They just pushed that defensive line back.
Brad Bobich should try to make it a 7-point Perdue lead. Seesaw battle in West Lafayette on homecoming, and the Boilermaker sends a cloud of steam up again. 4-yard steamroller here for Corey Rogers. It's the Boilermakers 23-16. Perdue makes a stop here.
Perdue made a stop and really stopped them so cold They did not gain much. I think they have to go for the field goal with 8 minutes to go in this football game. If they had gained a yard and a half, and it was inches, I think Joe Paterno would have gone for it. But with fourth and almost 3 yards, with 3 points on the board, there's still 7.5 minutes to go in the game.
Now you take the 3 and worry about the touchdown later. Had it been closer, it would have been the other way around. You can bet. You're right, Gary. It's a 25-yard attempt coming up for Conway. He's perfect today. 3 for 3.
Don't jump off sides now.
Conway's 4 for 4. So, TK O'Keefer and the Purdue defense comes up with a big stop on 3rd down, and it forces the Penn State field goal. It's a 4-point ball game.
Really have to give it to that Purdue defense. So maligned. I mean, they've given up so many points, so much yards. They're ranked 99th in the country going into this game, and they've come up with some big stops under trying circumstances.
Well, you know, they're only 4 points down, Penn State, and you think about all the misfortunes or the mistakes they've made in this football game, and they could be 3 touchdowns down instead of only being 4 points, 7, 10, 30. We have 4:11 left. Penn State has all its timeouts. They have a first down. They trail by 4 with 4:11 to go in the football game.
Needless to say, Purdue has been in this situation quite a few times. 4 minutes to go in the game, either tied or up a bit. Powerful offense on the field.
80 yards from a comeback win of the Nittany Lions, and they're going downtown to Ingram on first down. He's got it. 50 yards, Richardson to Ingram.
I'll tell you, Billy Dickens had double coverage. The former quarterback is in there because Derek Brown is hurt, and Dickens does not have the speed to get over and help. You'll see the outside. He thinks he has help deep, but there's no safety in the picture that time. Here comes Dickens over late. He actually didn't even judge the angle properly on that play. And, you know, when you got a safety or go down and you're playing with an ex-quarterback back there, that changes the field and turns it upside down on him.
Officially a 49-yard pass play to the 31. And now Mike Archie on a slant, and he's got it to the 25, maybe to the 24-yard line with 3:40 left. And now let's check in with Mike Tirico.
Quick pop in Champaign. Illinois down to Michigan State. Changed quarterbacks. Weaver benched. Johnson in. Touchdown pass. Jason Dulick. Unbelievable catch. Within 6, trying to stop the Spartans and burn their timeouts. Brett?
Nice adjustment to the ball with a touchdown. Bobby Ingram just made an over-the-shoulder catch of 49 yards. It has Penn State in gear with 3:15 left, trying to come from behind to win. Flags all over the place.
Pete Marsick, number 71, must have heard a shift by the Purdue defense, and he just jumped off sides while Penn State was shifting their tight end on that play.
Dead ball. Ball start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
Remember, Gary was talking about earlier that Marco Rivera, the guard, had practiced until Wednesday. Keith Conlon and Phil Otrosky, a couple of guys that normally would be starting on that front wall. And with that, guys like Pete Marsick have had to step up. They haven't been penalized much today. Only 2 against Penn State all day. That one kind of costly, though. Backs it up to the 31-yard line. Richardson. Near side, Ingram again. Man, it's the Bobby Ingram show. Pick up a 15 again. Ingram might be on his way to one of those kind of days we saw him put up against Rutgers.
Remember, he beat him deep last time. This time, a beautiful route. Watch how he lowers himself when he comes out of the break. Wally Richardson puts the ball to the outside. Jamal Coleman had no idea where that ball was being thrown that time, and that's great execution. Again, you know, if you're the defensive coordinator for Purdue, you got that guy double covered. He just beats it.
Ingram has bettered that Rutgers game. I correct myself. He's over 200 receiving. Richardson, Mike Archie on a little screen, and Archie's going to score. 16-yard touchdown pass. And just like that, Penn State looks like the Penn State of '94 on that drive.
This was really a beautiful call and their best executed play of the day as a unit. Ball came outside, 2 great blocks on the tight, and the key block, Pete Marsick, number 71, and the tight end, Olsemer.
5th lead change of the ball game, and now Conway will try to make it a field goal difference. A key extra point coming up. He's hit 64 straight extra points, make it 65.
He is good.
And it stretches it to 26-23. Penn State in front.
The tight end number 87 is going to get Chike O'Keefer, number 34, right here on the play. Knocks him down. Chike goes by. And then outside, Pete Marsick, number 71, just takes Coleman and puts him into the sideline. And, you know, coming back from a big offsides penalty, number 71, he's coming out. He's got the corner on the play that time. Boom. He's on the sideline with the tuba band and everybody else. And Mike Archie just trots in. They caught Perdue in a blitz. They had the perfect call on at the perfect time.
You got to remember who got him there, then, who's gotten him there all day long. This gentleman, 9 catches, 203 yards, both career highs. Richardson's not too shabby either with that last drive. That looked more like the Texas Tech march near the end of that game.
Well, I'll tell you what injury has been a key injury in this football game is losing ground for Perdue. It's taken the speed out of the secondary. It's something that they don't have a lot of anyway. They're going in with Dickens in this football day, this last drive, and there you see it. 9 receptions out of 11 throws. It's not a bad day's work.
Already broke O.J. McDuffie's receiving yardage mark earlier this season. Tied Kenny Jackson's touchdowns in a career of 25 earlier in this ball game. He's got the reception mark all to his lonesome. So he's Mr. Penn State as far as career receiving from this point on. Higgins had a nice return last time. He gets leveled at about the 28-yard line this time. Let's check in with Adrian.
Brian, after that previous series, the Penn State defense came off the field. They think they can get John Reeves rattled either by movement up front or some audible sound of some kind. Anything to throw him off of his game. You think he's very hesitant, and this hopefully will be their last offensive series.
Well, this is where John Reeves and the coaching staff for Perdue become goats or heroes. There's 2:30 left, and you're down by 3.
The only thing I can think of, Brad, remember last week we did the Michigan game, and Brian Greasy had a hurt shoulder all game. Perhaps there is something wrong with Rick Preston.
Reeves, play action. He's under fire now, and he gets that one complete to his tight end, John Blackman. Good throw, good catch.
But let's
a nice game.
But assuming that, and we usually get word if something is wrong with someone on the football field, assuming there is nothing wrong with Rick, I mean, this is you got to, they're either a hero or a goat, and you know, that's a tough call for Coach Coletto, but I guess he's doing what he thinks is best for the football team, not only in this football game, but in the long run.
That might be the key right there in the long run.
Yeah, but that doesn't help your seniors. There's still the short run for those guys.
Especially with a chance to upset Penn State. Allstock, one of those seniors. He's got a first down out to the 39-yard line. Todd Atkins made the tackle, but number 40 will get off the ball and move the sticks again. Don't forget, coming up, Residents in College Football Scoreboard Show. Mike Tirico with all the scores and highlights from around college ball, plus Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, and Craig James on location in Birmingham for tonight's Tennessee-Alabama game. So that's all coming up in a couple of minutes. A couple very important minutes for Joe Paterno and Jim Coletto. 26-23, Nittany Lions. Reeves almost sacked, got rid of it at the last instant. Todd Atkins and Brandon Noble, the guys that were in his face. And it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 39. Clock stopped with 1:58.
For the most part, the front four for Penn State has not been able to put significant pressure on the quarterback for Perdue. You really have to credit the balanced offense for the Boilers. But now, late in the game, you wonder if Killens and Atkins and Noble and Scioli might make the key play in this football game with a big sack.
2nd down 10.
2nd down 10.
Draw play, Allstock. Allstock, he's got a first down. Pushing that Jeep Wrangler, now pushing Penn State. This guy is something else.
He really is. Edwin Watson that time, number 36, the other back, the running back, had a great block on that play. He's right here. He's going to come up and get the block on the linebacker. If the lead draw to the weak side, he takes out the big linebacker to that side, and then he turns it up, and there's no bringing that back out.
149 yards for Allstock. Play action, Reeves in trouble. Gonna have to hustle. Down he goes.
He needs to throw that football away, and there's 60,000 fans agreeing with what we're saying right now. Jim Nelson cornered him, and Jim Coletto saying, throw it away, John, throw it away.
Or something
I
close
think that's
to that.
what he said.
Yep. Timeout, Perdue. We'll take it as well with 1:25 left and a quarterback hobbled. Perdue still with a chance when we return. Second down at 20 with 1:25 left. Perdue from its own 43. Reeves rifles it, completes it down to the 44-yard line to Craig Allen. Let's check in with Adrian.
There was some speculation, I believe, up in the booth that Rick Tresker had actually experienced a mild concussion. From what I've been told by two separate members of the training staff, he is healthy.
We saw one of the weirdest things take place during the last time out.
Reeves went over and sat on the bench, and Cardinal said, "Get back in there. You're not coming off."
3rd and 7 now. This is where they need something to happen, but not that. Terry Killens. He has been the man to pass rush opposing quarterbacks, and he might have just snuffed Eddie Perdue Hope right there.
And we talked about it. That front four might be the guys that step it up and make the big play this time. And Killens comes in a stunt from the outside, gets right into the face of Reeves, and now Perdue with 45 seconds to go is back to just one play in this football game, and a game that they really had in their grasp. They could have pulled this upset, but in the second half, they just have not had enough offense.
And they're out of timeouts as well. So even if they pick up this 4th down and 15, they're going to have to hustle to get back up to the ball, stop the clock, kind of regroup, and regroup whatever thought pattern they may have.
Well, what about, if they get it into the situation on the 1st down here, now you got the field goal kicker coming in.
Oh, he's missed 2 that could have won games.
Blavich right now, he's doing the same thing you're saying. He just went, "Oh, no, it looks like me again."
As much as you want to play, you don't want to think about it, do you? Not all the time.
I don't even know. We're trying to get a shot on the sideline. There he is.
There he is.
He's going, I don't know if this room and books and tuition is worth this stuff. I just think my mom and dad should just let me go to school.
Well, here's the game.
Not only that, Perdue he seems a little bit confused where to line up here.
4th down at 16. The ball game for the Boilermakers. Reeves has time, fires. Alford dropped it. It would have been very close to a 1st down. It hit him in the chest. Now, Penn State, all they have to do is kneel on it.
Well, you're right. It hit him in the chest. I'm not sure if it was enough, though. Alford in the middle of the formation comes back to the ball. He was right there. Aaron Collins is on the play, but he dropped it. It was a drop clean, and it was a good throw right in the chest. Because
he wasn't sure if he had enough for the 1st down, he turned his head momentarily to think, which way should I wheel after I catch this? And he forgot to catch it. Our Kelly Springfield players of the game in this one from Penn State. Who else? Bobby Ingram, 9, 203 and 1, a couple of career highs there. And from Perdue in the ball game this afternoon, it's Mike Allstott with a big game today. Kelly Springfield proud to donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund on behalf of those athletes.
Brad, there's a lot of great college football players, but one of the few that I would pay a ticket to see is Mike Allstott.
Me too. Bobby Ingram would be another, I guess.
Yeah.
There are players of the game, and obviously disappointed is Jim Coletta.
And he's going to be, if there's no injury to his quarterback, he's going to be in the middle of a firestorm about his decisions in this football game. There's just no two ways about it.
So Joe Paterno,
that happens.
Joe Paterno becomes a grandfather for the first time yesterday, and he probably has a few more gray hairs after this one.
How often do you see Joe Paterno go seek out Mike Allstott? The coach walked all the way looking for him on the field. They just great respect for how he played the football game. Great football game, but it didn't work out.
Well, a great one. 26-23 the final for Penn State. For Gary Danielson and Adrian Carson, I'm Brad Nessler saying so long from West Lafayette, Indiana. Now let's check in with Mike Tirico.